I know you're just a puppet, but I'm giving you props. You're lying to the public like it ain't nothing, and I just love it. I hope it don't stop. I don't give a damn, nigga, bang that block. I don't give a fuck, nigga, bang that Glock. I seen an image of Hitler in the picture when the Twin Towers dropped. Peep the concept, you got progress, you got Congress. We protest in hopes they confess. Just proceed on your conquest. I ain't got no gavel, I ain't finna fight nobody battle. I just wanna be free. I ain't finna be nobody chattel. Nobody chattel. Nobody chattel. Nobody chattel. Wish I could see Haile Selassie. Maybe my sovereignty will still be mine. If all the gangs in the world unify, we stand a chance against the military tonight. I said we stand a chance against the military tonight. I said we stand a chance against the military tonight.
Extra bills. Nose kinda ring like sofa ring. Mom, baby, needs some for me. So bags get stuff like Oprah Green. Pull around, come back, for real. Top blue off, low fuzz and teeth. Get lined up like homeless me.
What up, what up?
What up, though?
Crazy weekend. Y'all have been hearing about it already. Y'all are aware of what's going on in the news.
I hope y'all are.
You know, yeah, definitely. Let's see here.
Some of y'all, I don't mind if y'all not aware, because like me, I sleep all day. I hibernate sometimes, so sometimes you gotta catch me up, and that's what Shane's here for.
Exactly. That's, you know, that's one of my goals, so that's what we doing here. Shane G. Seawood in the building. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Shane G_MWC. You can follow Seawood on Instagram
At classic_wood.
That's right. Follow us on Facebook, the Midwest Coast Podcast, our YouTube channel, same name. iTunes, give us the 5-star rating, please and thank you. Shout out to the Big Time Garbage Podcast. That's got my boy Blaine on it. That's his podcast. It's a comedy podcast. Make sure y'all check that out on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. Bar Babes, Detroit, shout out to y'all. Follow them. They're on Stitcher, SoundCloud, and iTunes as well. Yeah, those y'all get the special shout outs just because we know y'all. So, yeah. So, all right. What am I discussing first, Seawood? Am I gonna go into the North Korea, or am I gonna talk about the Unite the Right?
Well, warm them up with the North Korea, man.
All right. So, warm them up. That's ill choice of words. So, CNN. North Korea says Guam strike plan ready within days. In case you're wondering where Guam is, it is a territory in the Pacific Ocean that belongs to the United States. The article says a North Korean plan to fire 4 missiles near the U.S. Pacific territory of Guam will be ready for Kim Jong-un's consideration in days, state media has reported, as an unprecedented exchange of military threats between Washington and Pyongyang intensifies. The intermediate-range missiles would be fired east and over Japan before landing around 30 to 40 kilometers, which is about 18 to 25 miles, off the coast of the tiny island if the plan is implemented, according to the state-run KCNA. When they say state-run, that means that basically the government of North Korea runs that media platform. So, Guam is more than 3,000 kilometers from North Korea. The plan is the latest provocation in a back and forth with Washington, which came to a boil on Tuesday when U.S. President Donald Trump appeared to threaten nuclear war on the pariah state. Yeah, so if y'all tuned in last week, this is what I was talking about when I said
exactly what you was
us doing these sanctions on Russia, Iran, and North Korea was probably not a good idea because we're just adding fuel to a fire when they're not messing with us. Now they have a reason to mess with us, see? And that's exactly what we were saying. So now they're talking about attacking Guam. According to their press release, they're called the Hwasong 12 missiles.
I love croissants.
Not these kind. There's no indication that the Hwasong-12 missiles mentioned in the Guam plan would be tipped with nuclear warheads, so they're not necessarily going to be nukes, but there's still going to be an attack on Guam. The KCNA report includes detailed provisional plans to launch 4 rockets above Shimane, Hiroshima, and Koichi prefectures of Japan, which are basically like states, and specified they would fly 3,356 kilometers or 2,000 miles for 1,065 seconds as a crucial warning to the US. Following that flight path, the missiles would also have to travel over the Japanese prefecture of Ehime. So, and Japan has also already said, I don't know if it mentions it in this article, but Japan has already said that they will consider that an act of aggression from North Korea if that happens. So this is what I'm saying. We're starting World War III. North Korea attacks Guam. In the missile route that they're doing it in, it's gonna fly over Japan, which they're gonna consider an aggressive act. So Japan is gonna link up with us and be trying to fight North Korea. China might get involved, and we don't know where they're gonna be at. We don't know if they're gonna be on North Korea's side or our side. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much at stake here. And then I forgot who I think it was the same dude who I covered on the YouTube page, Roy Moore, if I'm not mistaken. And Roy Moore is a guy, he said that the First Amendment doesn't apply to Islam. He's made a lot of outrageous claims in the past, and I'm almost positive that it was him who said this. But Sean Hannity from Fox News was talking to him, and Sean Hannity's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So, like, and he was talking to him, and he was like, yo, if we end up basically going at it with North Korea, this could result in a nuclear war. If this results in nuclear war, just the after effect, basically, of dropping a nuclear bomb on North Korea would essentially, like I mentioned last week again, you know what I mean? Sean Hannity said all the same stuff. It would basically, you know, the nuclear fallout would have negative impacts on South Korea, on, you know, Japan, China, the surrounding areas around it. And Roy Moore said, yeah, but it'll be mostly Koreans. That was his response. So, first of all, you know their military doesn't even have 1 million people in it. So if we kill 1 million Koreans, that's all rip gonna be mostly civilians. Yeah. Just like last time around. Like, you know what I mean, when we did the North Korean War, you know, back in the day, in the 50s or 60s or whenever it was. Like, it's gonna be the same thing. And then a different report that just came out, I just saw, showed that it's just like a mineral, like literally gold mine under North Korea, and they just don't have the infrastructure to be able to get the minerals out. But there's like hella gold, silver, like all those precious metals, all the stuff on the periodic table that we have like use for, basically, is like buried underground in North Korea, and they don't have a way to get to it.
Snatchies.
So, snatchies, exactly. It's the same thing as the oil in the Middle East. We're about to attack North Korea for their minerals. Like, if you think they don't know this, if we're just now finding this out in the media, and I've only seen like the one report on it, but if it's just now getting put out there to where people like me can read it, you know what I mean? You think the government hasn't been knowing that was the case in North Korea?
Yeah.
So obviously it's never humanitarian reasons. It's never, oh, we're trying to save the people in North Korea. It's never that. Whenever they tell you that that's why we're going to war, it's never, ever, ever that. Never. Yeah. It's never that. So what's the other reason? Okay, that makes sense. You know what I mean? We've gone there, like you said, snatchies.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I called all this last week, and now they're saying within days this attack could happen. Thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I like to paint these pictures when we get heavy on the politics. Shane does an amazing job of giving us the clear picture of what's going on. but I like to make it relatable. So I'm gonna show you exactly what we can all relate to with this situation. So this is like a classroom. The United States and North Korea is like the kids who throw paper and pencils at each other non-stop. And Japan is the kids in the middle who like, all right, if one of those land on me, we're gonna have a problem. Like straight up, that's really what it is. In Korea, since you started this, it don't matter who hit me, I'm taking it out on you.
Right.
And then China is like, y'all all need to calm down or we're gonna start wilding too. Like that's pretty much how I see it. Like it's gonna be conflict. Like when you walk in those type of environments, those type of classrooms, you like everybody in here about to start wilding out. And that's where the war on a larger scale than the picture I'm painting comes into effect. Like when you see it from the outside, you like everybody's gonna start wilding if this happens. Like when you start throwing around nukes and there's important places around, important resources, people are gonna start wilding. Everybody got their own vested interests, but this is where the classroom dynamic really take effect, is because we all know those wars don't ever end until you get to like the main goal. And usually when you get hit like that,
Doing the podcast.
usually when you get hit like that, somebody eventually is like, all right, enough. Throw one more,
Doing the podcast.
throw one more pencil, and I'm gonna take your binder. I'm gonna take your 5-star binder. That's the minerals.
Thanks, so.
Like, that's really how it is. Like, the United States is that one who gonna shut it down. Like, hit me with one more pencil, I'm gonna take your 5-star binder and your lunch. Like, that's who we are. That's what we're known for. Countries know that. Like, we don't throw pencils at the U.S. because they always want to take some shit. They don't fight fair. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really how it goes. And this is like, to me, this is all ridiculous. It's two shitty world leaders who started a slap fight with a lot of people involved.
Yeah, pretty much, because everything that either side does is gonna affect. Because there's no way for it to just be between the U.S. and North Korea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, in either way it starts, all these other countries are gonna get dragged in.
And
So
they
that's why
making
they're saying
sure
it's
of
gonna
it.
be World War III.
Yeah,
Like,
they
there's
making
no-
sure other people get involved. Like, if you got to know, oh yeah, we gonna shoot this missile over Hiroshima. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Hiroshima of all places.
Exactly. Like, we all know what happened there already, so it's like,
So you trying to provoke other interests is what you're saying.
yeah. It's like, it's like when it's to break it down like in rap beef terms, right? So like after Meek Mill and them jumped Safari, right?
Yeah.
What's the first thing Safari did? He ran to Instagram. He was talking this shit about Meek Mill. You know, he's like, yeah, y'all, y'all weak, y'all some pussy, y'all had to jump me, and you're still running from the game too.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna bring up somebody else's. You see what I'm
Somebody
saying?
else's
Like,
beef.
you just gonna bring up another dude's beef. You know what I'm saying? Into yours. Like the reason you're doing that is to secure him being on your side. You see what I'm saying? Like, and that's essentially, you know, what they're doing on a mass scale. Like, but it's almost like it's like a prison yard almost. It's like, because everybody has to click up with, you know, their race or whatever. So it's like, but so you go to prison if you're in the West, you know, and you're Hispanic, all right, you're Mexican mafia or whatever. If you're black, you're gonna be probably in a Blood or Crip area. You know what I'm saying? On that tier. If you're white, you're gonna be with one of the Nazi groups or with skinheads or something. Like, and everybody's at war all the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Over territory, over resources, you know what I'm saying? Over the rights to hustle different whatever cigarettes or what have you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing, like just on a mass scale. So it's weird to me, like when people act like they don't understand like hood politics essentially. Because I'm like, yo, it's literally the same thing.
Same thing.
It is
on a
literally the
larger,
same thing,
more
just on
corporate
a-
scale.
That's it. That's it. So, you know, it's just crazy to me, but that's where we're at with it now. So within the next few days, Guam might get attacked. And if that happens, Trump's already made his fire and fury quote, you know, threatening nuclear war. So you think he won't do it? Like he's the commander in chief. Like, that's the one thing that the president kind of does have absolute power over. Like, if you want to know who the leader of the military is, like the whole military, it's him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a top dude in the Navy, there's a top dude in the Army, etc., etc. But who's the head of all of it? The president.
Yeah.
So You know, like that's what people put in office though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it is what it is.
you know, that's what people put in office. And like, and I get it because, like, I mean, like, I think Hillary's quote when she said, you know, like about, what did she say? About half of the Trump people are deplorables and they can't be redeemed, basically. And then the other half are people who are, you know, upset at the establishment, economically frustrated and, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's true. I think a lot of people voted for Trump just because, like, I know people who voted for Trump just because there was like we can't keep doing the same shit. Like, if we want actual change, like, because this is something that never gets mentioned, right? But this is a fact. I think, what was it, 8 million people who voted for Barack Obama both times voted for Trump. 8 million people. You see what I'm saying? Like, 8 million people who voted for Barack Obama both times voted for Trump this time. So what does that tell you? That means that they wanted change. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that was Barack's whole message. Hope and change, hope and change. Yes, we can. And he didn't really do that. Like, he made a lot of shitty situations better. I'll give him credit in that.
Yeah.
He made a lot of shitty situations better. Healthcare was a very massively terrible situation before him. Now it's better. It's not good, but it's better. You know what I'm saying? It's
Baby
better,
steps, man.
Baby steps, right? And that's kind of his problem, is he's a baby steps ass nigga.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's not adventurous enough. He wasn't radical enough, quote unquote radical enough, to do some like real shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He played it way too safe. That's my biggest problem with him. But so that and you know, like with the wars, I feel like he made worse because we were in 2 places and now we're in 7. So that's all him.
Yeah.
That's I feel like his biggest flaw is his foreign policy. But pretty much everything else, the job situation, he made that better. The stock market, for, you know, if people who care about that, like, I don't really care about the stock market because that doesn't affect regular people, but people who do care about that, he made that better. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he did a lot of things that were better, like, and, you know, like you said, incremental baby steps, but he didn't do enough. He didn't do what people thought he was gonna do.
Yeah.
Trump was such a wild card. That's 8 million people who wanted Barack to be president. We're like, you know what? I'm about to try with this dude because maybe he's gonna shake shit up.
So they basically applied Barack's slogan to Trump because they was hoping that he was gonna change some stuff.
They didn't even necessarily, I think, hope that he was gonna. This is gonna sound weird when I say it, but like, I don't think they thought that he was gonna change things for the better necessarily, that he was just gonna disrupt everything that was going on.
Make everything more clear. Like,
Just like make everything, like, you cannot do business as usual because we have this wild card ass president in here, so y'all have to change the way y'all are doing business in Washington.
yeah.
Which kind of to a degree is true.
So basically, like, apply pressure.
Yeah, basically.
If we vote for him, that applies pressure
Yeah.
because he's a wild card. Now y'all got to do your job.
Yeah, and to a degree that's true, because think about it. Like, and I think it worked on both sides. I think it worked on the side of Washington because you see healthcare's still not passing. You know what I'm saying? We still got Obamacare.
Yeah.
They've been trying to repeal it. They've tried to repeal it 4 times already. None of them are passing because they're horrible ideas. You know what I'm saying? So, Obamacare's still here. Like, all the stuff that hit the wall's still not built. Like, all this stuff. You see what I'm saying? All this stuff that ISIS is still around. He said he had a 30-day plan to get rid of ISIS, and they're still here. Like, he hasn't been able to do anything. So,
Yeah.
not only is Washington holding him accountable when he tries to implement crazy ideas, I like that, but on the flip side of that, the actual people, think about this. Most of the time after the president gets elected, how many people do you know who, like in our age group, who still talk about politics and still like follow the news close and all of that? Like,
It started to dwindle down.
it starts to dwindle down, right? Like, the only time the average person really cares about all of that is during the presidential cycles.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, we're not really paying attention to politics. This time, I feel like everybody's paying attention still. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the average person knows what Trump's doing for the most part. You know what I mean? They're watching the news. They're, you know what I'm saying? Like, really trying to be aware of what's going on or whatever. And I feel like if Hillary won, that wouldn't have been the case. If Hillary won, it would have just been business as usual in Washington and business as usual with us.
Honestly, I think it would have had the same effect.
I don't think so.
Because Hillary had just as strong as a reputation of dislike and rebelliousness as Trump did. In all honesty, like, she got caught up on so many things she didn't do while she held a political position. She was basically a actual political Donald Trump. Like, she had experience. Donald Trump was just a successful regular person with this random, you know what I'm saying, reputation that rubbed the wrong way. She actually had 5 years plus that we would look at as normal people. How many years of experience? Oh, Hillary has 5 years of this Donald Trump reputation. Like, Donald Trump could drag her through the mud, and he did off of what she did in office. Like, she didn't have any political.
Yeah, her voting record was terrible. So it's
so that's why I said I think it would have went the same way. People to watch, because if she would have gotten office, it would have been just as many people upset. The things that she did, the jobs and all the responsibilities that she had that she blew up on, people would have taken note of that because it was already out there.
I don't know though, because here's why I kind of disagree with that. Because with Trump, I feel like for the most part everybody disagrees with what he's doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, pretty much everybody's kind of on the same page. Like, we don't necessarily agree on how he needs to go about fixing these issues or whatever. Like, there's still a difference in the left and right on that.
Yeah.
But we pretty much unanimously all agree that we don't like the job he's doing.
Yeah.
So I think that's why people, and plus, like, yeah, like, there's just too much going on with his administration. He's fired 12 people. You know what I mean? Like, just all that type of stuff. So the whole Russia shit.
He do fire.
Regardless if that's bullshit or not, like, it's still interesting news to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So people follow it. So it's like,
but I think
whereas with
honestly,
Hillary, you wouldn't have had all of that. Like, she's not firing 12 people in her administration.
But I think it still would have been a lot of controversy only because
But I think it would have only
her husband would have been tied to her also.
True, but I think the type of protesting that's being done against Trump, I think only half the people that are out there protesting would be doing that against Hillary, and it's because progressives don't like Hillary. Like, all the shit that we would protest Hillary about is shit Republicans don't care about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They don't give a fuck about that. We're upset because of how they did Bernie and, like, the rigging of the primaries and, like, how she admitted you gotta have a public position and a private position as a politician and they should be different and, like, all that type of stuff. That's what we're upset about. Republicans don't care about none of that. They just wouldn't have liked the fact that Hillary was in office because she's a Democrat.
Yeah.
Period. And that would have been that. So that would have been regular. That rotation would have been the exact same as any other Democrat president. Whereas I feel like if Hillary was in office, progressives would have still been protesting her. But then you just wouldn't have had the same amount of people protesting her because it wouldn't have been the left and the right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I don't feel like it would have been as impactful. I feel like it would have just essentially been business as usual. If
I think you got Trump and Hillary running parallel. I think what I'm thinking of is more outside the box with Hillary because there was more ways to attack her. Like, if you really feel any type of way about anything that Hillary does while she's in office, you have more reasons to attack her in more ways than you do Trump. Trump's a successful businessman. That's exactly what his following goes on.
Yeah.
Based that he's a successful businessman. Hillary, you can attack her based on the level of minorities that got locked up while her husband was in office. Like, you could attack basically Bill through her and then get to her later.
That's true.
You know, like, it's more ways to attack her of anything. She can do anything wrong or minor.
Because she supported all of it.
So that's what I'm saying. So she can do anything minor and anybody can torch her. You know what I'm saying? Anybody, just like Trump now, nobody has any reason to support Trump except for he's a legitimate businessman. In reality, nobody has a reason to support Hillary except for the fact that she seemed better than Trump.
Yeah, that was it. And that was why they tried to. That's why they lost, because that was her whole message, basically. Like, I can't tell you any Hillary Clinton to this day. I can't tell you any Hillary Clinton policy goals.
Yeah.
I can tell you basically all of Bernie's. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Free college, free healthcare. I'm pretty sure he wanted to end the wars. I know he wanted to like decriminalize, possibly legalize weed at least. You know what I mean? Like he infrastructure spending, jobs program, like green energy bills. Like I know exactly what Bernie wanted to do because he talked about it all the time. Like Hillary just talked about being better than Trump.
Yeah,
that was it.
Hillary and Trump was riding on that already. You know what I'm saying?
Trump
They
even
platform.
was specific. Like he was specific in both ways on every issue, but he said enough specific stuff to where you could infer whatever you wanted him to say, basically. Like whatever you wanted it to be, you could pull that from it. You know what I'm saying? Like you could just, you know, like I think he's gonna be non-interventionist because there are clips of him saying, "Oh, we need to stop doing all these stupid wars. We need to spend that money here." So you can say, yeah, that's his position. There's also clips of him saying, ISIS, we're gonna bomb the shit out of them. So if you want to be more hawkish, you can pick that side and be like, yeah, he's gonna do this, and you know what I'm saying? Like he does that with everything. So, like you can just but there's still a message there though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though it's all over the place, like you can still pick something specific from his message and you can just pick whatever you. It's like the Bible kind of like there's really bad stuff in there and there's really really good stuff in there.
Yeah.
And you see pastors, you know what I mean? Like certain pastors, they only focus on the bad stuff. Women shouldn't speak in church and, you know, that kind of stuff. There's clips on YouTube of pastors in Arizona preaching like that, you know what I mean? Like this dude named Steven Anderson, and he quotes Bible verses, so he's not wrong. And then there's also, you know, the good pastors who are telling you to love thy neighbor and treat everyone equally and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. You pick whatever you want, like whatever you already kind of believe. And that's who Trump is, you know what I'm saying? Like it's the same thing. So, you know, but I don't know.
Speaking of what you believe, how do you feel about this Virginia situation?
Man, like, so I got an article on that too. This is from The Guardian. So, a man charged with murder after car rams anti-far-right protesters in Charlottesville. So James Fields, he's from Ohio, he's not even from Charlottesville. He was arrested following an attack at the Unite the Right gathering, and 2 police officers died in a helicopter crash. That was somewhat unrelated, but it was at the rally. Like, it was crazy. Crazy weekend, like I said. So this was actually published today. Today's the 13th of August. So a man has been arrested and charged with murder after a car rammed into a group of people peacefully protesting against a white supremacist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, killing 1 person and injuring 19. Police said the 32-year-old woman had died, and they were attempting to notify her family before releasing details. Those details have been released. Her name was Heather Heyer. Let me see. I just had an article, but it just it went away. So her name was Heather Heyer or Hayer. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but rest in peace to her. Colonel Martin Coomer, the superintendent of Albemarle / Charlottesville Regional Jail, told The Guardian that 20-year-old James Fields of Ohio has been arrested following the attack on Saturday. He has been charged with second-degree murder, 3 counts of malicious wounding, and failing to stop at an accident that resulted in a death. Donald Trump condemned the violence on many sides, quote, violence on many sides, end quote, but faced criticism for failing to directly denounce the far-right demonstrators. Yeah, you gotta say that the Nazis are bad or the white supremacists are bad because they're the ones that are instigating the violence. So, you know, that was the thing. Like he used to go really hard at Obama for not saying radical Islamic terrorism, and saying if you don't identify the problem, then you'll never be able to solve it. Well, here's an example of him being able to do the same thing and not doing it. So, you know, being a hypocrite, of course. State police said in a separate incident, 2 police officers died when their helicopter, which was monitoring the far-right rally, crashed outside Charlottesville. State police said in a statement the helicopter was assisting public safety resources with the ongoing situation when it crashed in a wooded area. Lieutenant Jay Cullen and Burke Bates died at the scene. The deaths came at the end of a day marked by violent clashes between far-right nationalists and people who had come to protest against their occupation of a downtown park containing a statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee. Yeah. So, that's pretty much, you know, everything that's the meat and potatoes of the story. You know, there's a lot more in that article, but interesting thing, I thought, Republican Senator Marco Rubio tweeted that it was important for Trump to describe the events as terror attack by white supremacists. Because you usually don't hear that from Republicans. Like, they usually don't like to acknowledge when their side does a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
They usually don't like to acknowledge it, especially when they're, you know, far-right wingers, because then you have to acknowledge that your team is responsible for a terrorist attack, which you rally against all the time. That's like their number one thing. You know what I mean? Is, you know, that's why they're super against immigration, and that's why they're so pro-war and all that stuff. So that was really interesting to see that. But yeah, man, that's crazy. Like, and then they have the meme floating around on the internet of like the people flying in the air after being hit by the car. Like, that shit is crazy. And you know,
a lot of this, I feel like
I don't even know what to say, because it's like there's
it's crazy to
Nazis
me. It's
in the
crazy to me
streets
to like
in 2017. Like,
it's crazy how much the term history repeats itself, comes into play so much. You know, because like a lot of the stuff that we learn throughout history, it's like a process that goes into place. Look, like, you know, you read about this and you hear it starts out with like social activists speaking out.
Yeah.
That's how it always starts out. It's a heavy social activist movement where they're speaking out about something, and then the next stage is some type of protest of some sort. And then you hear significant people with a platform who get involved that invokes the protest and the social activism. Next step is the controversy, the clash, the moment where it gets violent, like overly and blatantly violent.
yeah,
Like we hear this a lot. We hear with like when we hear protests and march back in the day. You know what I'm saying? You would see people with picket signs, this, and that. Then you would hear celebrities where you would see black celebrities on these black and white shows or these radio shows. You know, anything with a platform they would do. And then you would hear that piece, that Rosa Parks story, that water hose to the you know what I'm saying? Like, it's always that violent, and then it creates these groups. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of this is just repeating itself. That's all it seems like. Like, you hear these social activists when the Trayvon Martin and all this, like, you hear the civil unrest, they protesting in Ferguson. You know what I'm saying? You saw the football players taking a stance. You see with Colin Kaepernick, he been all through the media because he can't get a job. Next thing you know, Ferguson, they burn the city down. You know what I'm saying? Like, this happens, like, it's so much unrest. The only thing is, it's sparking up in different areas, and that's kind of what led to the Civil War. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's always been racism in the South. People knew it. That's been historically documented. Racism, that's like the birthplace of America's racism. The North was always cooler than the South. Let's just call it what it was. Everybody was going up north. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it was. So when something goes on in the South, I don't want to put it like this, but it's kind of the norm.
Yeah.
If you hear racism in Alabama, Florida, Louisiana, you know what I'm saying?
It's not a surprise.
It's not. But when you expose it to different regions of the country, then it just looked like a bad place everywhere. Where you got these unrest in St. Louis, then you got it in New York, then you got it in Oklahoma, now you got it in Virginia. You know what I'm saying? Now it's starting to look bad.
So what it is too, though, is just for one, I think it's safe to say that racism is probably more prevalent in the South, but it exists in the North.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It always has.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? It exists in the North. So I think it's more surprising to people when it happens in like these quote unquote progressive places like New York and stuff like that. Like, because you don't expect it. You don't expect it to be based on race.
Yeah.
In New York. You know what I'm saying? You might make maybe the police like with the stop and frisk law that they had, you know what I'm saying? Like it ended up being a racist law, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because obviously, statistically speaking, black people commit more crime, you know what I mean? But there's a whole bunch of reasons for that. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like we're just inherently worse people or anything.
Yeah.
There's obviously reasons behind that. We can get into that on another show. But statistically speaking, that's true. So the police, they use that information, and so they're like, okay, well, these are the groups that we need to be targeting then. You know what I'm saying? So then they're telling their police people to go out there and basically stop and frisk black people walking down the street. So of course, when you're stopping and frisking black people, it's going to result in the arrests of more black people. So you're just perpetuating the cycle of arrest. You know what I mean? So even in that situation, though, I think people hear that and they don't necessarily think it's racist. They're just like, well, they're probably in black neighborhoods more where there's crime being committed, and so they're arresting more, and maybe they're being too rough with them or whatever, but they don't necessarily think it's based on race when it still is in a lot of cases. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Even with those statistics, I don't agree with it, because I actually taught, they had like a forum in school where they addressed, you know what I'm saying, how they go about tracking crime and all that, and they brought up the statistics, high crime areas or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and I got that, but the thing is, you gotta look at the majority of the population.
Mm-hmm.
It's not black people. We the third now. We the third highest.
Something like that.
Hispanics has moved over us.
Oh yeah. No,
You know what I'm saying?
If you
Like,
count them as a whole group,
yeah. So when you look at the percentages of crime, our numbers might be higher, but we're a smaller population, which makes our crime smaller. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like 24%, let's say 24% of the black population, it was crime. 24% of the Hispanic or the white population, that's a large number.
Right.
That's a large number. So it's not even high crime to me. And then
It's not
I don't like to go
necessarily,
based on the statistics because I'm more of a, I call it how I see it type of person. And I've been to the suburbs of all the states I've been to. It's always these environments where it's not black cities. You know, you go into the suburbs, it might be a majority white state. They have those trailer park neighborhoods that's basically the equivalent of ours.
It's the same.
And Hispanic neighborhoods in Arizona, they know it looks just like ours with a Hispanic twist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Those same high crime, you know what I'm saying? It's the same high crime thing. It's the same thing, except they're on a larger scale. We're just the focus because that's what the laws has been in place. That's how they've been taught over and over. I really think that police has just passed down a bunch of old techniques from back in the day.
Definitely.
That's all it is. I don't think the stats or none of that. I think they just don't want to say it. Like, I don't want to be
what
like.
What it is, though, is I'm saying that's how they justify it, though.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what
I mean, I get that from your perspective, but I'm just letting the people know, like, it's not based on stats. Like, they feed you this, but in all reality, I just feel like they lazy. They got this approach where this has always been a high crime area. You know what I'm saying? Even though the people was kind of forced into this area because it's the most affordable for them. You know what I'm saying? It's always a high crime area, so we're going to stay here. We're not going to look into places like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of places where, you know, college areas should be high crime areas.
Yeah.
'Cause it has every reason to be.
Yeah.
In all reality,
Yeah.
but they don't look for that. They look for what's been historically high crime areas, the suburbs of them. You know, it's lazy work to me.
No, I agree with all of that. You know what I'm saying? I agree with all of that. I'm just saying, like, because whenever somebody questions it, like in the media or something, they have to have a response for it. So that's their response, is all I'm saying. They're just like, well, if you look at the statistics, but you can look at statistics and you can link it with race, but it doesn't make sense to do that to me. What makes more sense is to link it to economic level.
Yeah.
When you link it to economic level across the board, people of lower economic levels are committing more crimes than people of higher ones.
But that's set up too. That was just set up in place. Like, black people were never, you know what I'm saying? Minorities in general
and that's
have
what I'm
never
saying.
been set up
That's what I'm
to
saying.
be in an economic class.
But if you
just
look at,
past.
but that's why I was happy when you brought up trailer parks, though, because if you look at white people in trailer parks, they commit just as many crimes or get caught doing just as many crimes as black people in the hood or in the projects or whatever.
And I don't think they do.
I think they do. Those are the white people that you see in jail. Like when we go to jail, like for some just silly shit, you know what I'm saying, for the weekend or whatever, like just dumb shit that like our friends have gone to jail for or whatever.
This again
those
is,
be the white people that are in jail, like with them.
Yeah,
You know
like
what I'm saying?
I get that, but I'm saying
the
from
majority,
a personal perspective.
Because
I
the
see.
suburban motherfuckers that are committing crimes, they're committing white collar crimes.
But think about it like this. When
They're
I
not
see,
committing murder,
this
they're
is what I
calling
see.
the
When I
hitman to commit
when I see black people do things, it can be like, you know, you grew up. If you dress a certain way, you gonna get investigated.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Yeah.
You look a certain way and you black, it's gonna happen. You talk a certain way, it's gonna happen.
Facts.
You around the wrong people, it's gonna happen.
Facts.
With them, I think they got more of a history where it's more leniency. Like, I think when white people go to jail for the same crimes, it has to be overt. When we see these people on TV and the news and all of this, like, it's an outrage with them. Like, it's very blatant. It's very out in the open. Like, ours is not.
When it comes to the sentencing, we get harsher sentences.
No, I'm saying like put it like this. If I'm walking down the street, it's a bunch of us in plain white tees, old English D-fitted, fancy glasses.
Yeah.
Somebody's getting questioned.
Facts.
Something's gonna pop off.
Yeah.
If you see a white dude probably got book bag full of drugs on him, he skateboard by, that's completely normal in any situation.
I agree 100%.
In any situation. How we get caught, they're trying to catch us. How they get caught, they end up on the news. Some dude was on coke, he ran out in the traffic, got hit by a car.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by the difference. Like, when you say those people were in jail too, they went out of their way to get caught. We didn't. We was going about our lives. Most people try to, you know what I'm saying, try to go completely normal.
No, I agree with you there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a very, that's why I say it's lazy police work. Cause you might know it.
On that end, yeah, I 100%.
You might know it. Like, you know
I'm
what
just
saying?
saying the crimes being committed and the reasons they're being committed. It's always economic.
Yeah. Like,
except for like hate murder and shit like that.
Yeah, like if you look at like
but like
a majority
robbery,
pot, if you put up
selling, like,
but even
like
that, like if you look at a majority minority city and you put it next to, I'm gonna use a college city because that's real diverse. It's a lot of drugs and it's not coming from minorities. It's a lot of crime. Police know that. We know that. Police went to school. They know this. You know what I'm saying? But are they out looking for it? No. But if they go into the black neighborhood, it don't matter. It's free game. Grab somebody, give them some questions.
But I still think you gotta tie the money into that. Cause like, think about a place like, think about the D, for example, right? So like in the D, you know where the hot spots is, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like certain neighborhoods, certain blocks, stuff like that, where you just know it's probably going down here at some point during the day. You know what I'm saying? If I'm here all day, something's gonna happen. Something. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna see something.
Yeah.
Some type of hood activity is gonna go down in front of me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and Detroit is all black, you know what I'm saying, except for Southwest or whatever. But Other than that, it's all and Hamtramck. But other than that, it's all black. So, you know what I mean? But then you go to Southfield, which is also majority black, as far as I know, and the police don't be fucking with people out there like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing. It's an all black neighborhood. It's just they don't be wilding out there because there's not the reason to. If you live in Southfield, you probably have a decent amount of money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're doing all right if you live in Southfield. So it's like, versus if you live in Detroit, you might be doing all right, but you might not. Depending on where
you
stay.
can never tell.
You never know. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why I'm like, I don't know. I think it kind of depends on the money too, but that might just be a unique situation because it's more black cops, like, on the force there, you know what I'm saying? Versus other places where they, like, have somebody from Birmingham.
I just never
in Detroit.
I just
like,
never thought. I never thought that the stats really reflected the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I agree with that.
Like, when you see the situations and you hear the stats, you like something not adding up.
It just reflects who's in prison or who's in jail or who's on papers. That's it. It doesn't reflect who's actually committing crimes. Hell no.
Now, speaking of crimes, we're gonna jump into this. Since it ties into both topics of the U.S. taking resources and police authority, how do you feel about bullying as a whole?
I think to a degree it's necessary when you're a kid. Like, cause you gotta learn how to like stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
And so like, there should be that time when you maybe not necessarily getting bullied per se, but where somebody is like bigger than you and giving you a problem. You know what I mean? And it's like, ain't nobody gonna have your back but you, and you just gotta face the situation. You might take a L.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because this is a bigger kid than you. He's 8 and you're 5, and he asked you to borrow your bike, and you said, yeah, you can ride it around the block one time. And he done rode it around the block 3 times, and you like, yo, if my mama catch you riding this bike, I'm gonna get in trouble. And now he's going for his 4th ride. You know what I'm saying? Like, in that type of situation, yo, you gotta stand up for yourself, man. Like, you gotta figure out what to do in that situation. Cause ain't nobody, you know what I mean? What happens, you know what I mean, when ain't nobody around and he steals your bike, then what? So, in that situation, I'm not for it, I don't want to say, but I'm not, like, I feel like everybody's got to go through it.
So it's situational.
It's somewhat situational, like, because like I said, I'm not going to say I'm pro-bully ever, really. Like, it's never a good thing to bully people, but I feel like it's something that everybody has to go through. Like, everybody needs to get bullied at some point. To become, you know what I mean, an adult. Like, women too. You
it's
know
a part of life.
It's a part of life. You got to learn how to develop thick skin. So it's like, because people are going to talk about you, people are going to try to hurt you. You know, it is what it is. So it's like, you got to develop thick skin. So I feel like that's a part of growing up, a rite of passage, if you will. But I don't think that the people who are doing the bullying are good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't be on your side with it because it's like, you know, that's fucked up. You shouldn't bully people. But yeah, I think it's necessary though. But I think that's more so as a kid though. Like, that's when you got to go through that, because like, people bullying like teenagers and stuff isn't cool, because it's like, teenagers are like hella impressionable, and it's like, you don't really hear about like elementary school suicides or even like middle school suicides really, but like teenage suicides, that's a thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you gotta be careful with that once people get to a certain age, because it's like, you know, people say sticks and stones and all of that kind of stuff, but no, words.
That's just something you say.
That's just some bullshit, because that shit do hurt.
That's
you know
just something that people say, like money doesn't buy happiness.
Yeah,
that's
fuck out of here. Like, you know what I'm saying? You'd be way more comfortable if you had more money.
Yeah,
like,
I know a few things I could buy that'll make me happy.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, I don't think money in itself would make you happy, but, you know, I do think it aids in your happiness if you're already...
I just thought it was a terrible, because it can't buy happiness. But you know, it's things that you could purchase that'll make you happy.
That'll make you happy,
like, that's basically what Christmas is.
Right. It's buying a bunch of happiness.
Like,
so, yeah, that's true.
But
yeah, so I don't, but yeah, like, so it's, like I said, like when people become teenagers, then you got to be careful with it, because it's like people react differently. When you're a little kid, the worst that's gonna happen is you're gonna cry, you're gonna run to somebody older than you, and they're gonna tell you how to handle it, and then you're gonna handle it in that way next time. They might give you an insult. You know what I'm saying? Be like, oh, next time he says this, say this to him. You know how you do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, little stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like that's cool for a kid, because they're gonna, like I said, they'll handle it way different. But when a kid's 15, 16, and he's not all the way sure who he is, and he's trying to figure his life out, and it's some 18-year-old who everybody looks up to or whatever, and he's just fucking with him all the time, like, that's different at that point.
Yeah.
It's like, he might react really bad to that. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know what's going on in his head. You don't know if he's suffering from any kind of depression or whatever. Like, there's all types of chemical stuff that be going on. He could be bipolar. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm anti-bullying flat out across the board pretty much once you're, like, anytime after puberty, I'd say. Like, you know what I'm saying? Kind of during puberty and after that, that's when I'm like, all right, leave that shit alone.
Yeah.
Like, don't fucking bully people at all.
Because you got that maturity level.
And you should just know better at that
Yeah.
point, too. Yeah, you can hold people accountable
you
for
mature,
it.
like, you know better. You know
Yeah.
right and wrong at this point.
You can hold people accountable for it, whereas, like, little kid bullies, you can't necessarily hold them accountable because they're kids still.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's just all a learning experience, and I'm not really against it.
Now, let me tell you my perspective, because I know you're going to have a lot of questions and a lot of points to throw at me.
Okay.
Because you always fair.
Yeah.
You always fair. I'm pro-bullying. Like, I know it sounds bad, but I'm pro-bullying, kind of for the reasons you are, except majority of the reasons I support. You know, I'm clearly not for you bullying people just to bully people. Like,
Right.
that's not my goal of supporting bullying. It's just unrealistic for me not, you know what I'm saying? Because the idea of bullying is that somebody's doing this to you to benefit themselves one way or another. Like, when people bully you as a child, it's self-esteem issues, it's something, they're doing it to boost something mentally. You know what I'm saying? They might not physically take something from you. They might just be trying to make themselves feel better, bigger, more powerful. Like, it's a self-esteem booster. I get that. Like, they're doing it for some type of benefit. The problem I have is that that's real life. Real life is always going to be somebody who's looking to only benefit themselves. And if you don't experience it at a young age, then you're going to catch it at the worst possible time. You know what I'm saying? Somebody bully you and you're a parent and your kids see that, that's a bad look.
But
you know what I'm saying?
I agree with you.
But that's what I'm saying. And a lot of times, a lot of the metaphors and the things that we try to teach lead back to bullying. Like, when you teach your kid, oh, you gotta know how to protect yourself, defend yourself from, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of bad things out there. You gotta know how to defend yourself.
Yeah.
But we also teach karma. What goes around is gonna come around. So we see these TV shows and these situations in real life where somebody's getting bullied. They tell somebody. In real life, the real picture is a kid bullies another smaller kid in school. You know what the smaller kid do? He tell the teacher.
Yeah.
Teacher can bully you because they got all the power. What you gonna do to them?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So bullying is gonna happen. It's just really if it's gonna be for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, which is limitations in the teach. That's really what bullying is. To teach limitations, and you get too cocky. We see it even in real life. When rich people get too cocky and they start breaking laws, the government will be quick to bully you unfairly and let you know you need to be humble. Kendrick said, stay humble.
Right.
Sit down. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what bullying is. It's to teach you. And people would say it. And then another reason why I support bullying is because this is a heavy bully time. This is no generation that's going to be more heavily bullied than right now. And the reason I say that is because social media is so heavy. Back in our day, you seen the wood. Once you get out of school, you safe. until the next day. Live to fight another day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's not the case now.
Nah.
Social media, somebody link your location, that bully can find you.
Or
they don't even have to find you. He can just stay on social media.
He could just stay on social media and be like, I'm outside your house and shoot a live video.
Yeah.
Standing outside your crib. Like,
Yeah.
where you at? Where you at?
Like, we see these videos
And
where
a bunch of people start tagging you.
People getting the beefs, and somebody will try to like social media bully them.
Yeah.
And in real life, that person's a real life bully, and they're like, well, I'm gonna go get my homeboy. He gonna get his camera, and they gonna record me beating you down. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. Nobody will ever be more heavily bullied than right now. I don't like it, but it's the reality. If it doesn't happen, then you are at a disadvantage. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of the people that never get bullied are probably entitled people. You know what I'm saying? They have some type of authority or money or something like that where they kind of avoided it. They moved to neighborhoods where it's quote unquote safe. The schools are better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Safer environments. And then they go out to the real world. It's a melting pot. It's mixed. Mm-hmm. They think they can verbally and throw money around, and they gonna run into the wrong person. Like I said, it's the wrong time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got everything to lose if you get hurt. You throw money around and you a rapper, somebody break your jaw, you can't talk. How much money did you just lose?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I said I'm for bullying, only because that's the society we live in today. If somebody wants to express themselves.
I think I basically agree with you. I think we just kind of have two different definitions of what bullying is. I think that's all that is. Because, like, everything you just said makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
I don't disagree with none of it. You know what I'm saying? I just think when I hear bullying, I'm thinking, like, in my mind, what comes up is Mike Tyson walking through the high school and seeing somebody who's like the same size as, I don't know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody tiny that we know, you know what I'm saying? Like just a little scrawny Poindexter dude.
Yeah.
Him just shoving him into a locker for no reason.
Yeah.
Just to make himself look or feel better. You know what I'm saying? Somebody taking advantage of somebody else who's like clearly weaker than them. That's kind of what I think of as bullying more so. Like, but when you like I said, when you broaden that and you were like, you know, it's also like the teacher, you know, telling the student, hey, sit your ass down. You know what I'm saying? Like the teacher bully. Like when you put it in that context, it's like, okay, yeah, you are always gonna have to deal with some type of authority, basically, like
telling
that is
you
higher
something.
than you, telling you something that's
Even if it's fair or not.
yeah,
Yeah.
and even if it's like not something that you want to do or whatever the case is, it's like it's still something that you're gonna have to do.
Yeah, and
Just
that's
because it is what it is.
And
And
when
your boss at work, if they tell you, hey, you know, I need this stack of papers filled out or whatever.
and you like, that's not my job. And they like,
Okay, well,
make it your job.
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Just got bullied.
You just got bullied. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. When you put it like that, yeah, I agree with you.
And when I hear
All the way.
bully, I take it back to home. Like, you know, I say, I know the public opinion and the public view of what bullying is, but I always take it to a personal spot. I always hear my mom's voice, because when she talked about bullying, the first thing is she told me, and this wasn't about the other kid, this was about how she was gonna treat me. She was like, don't start acting like that. Like, don't act like you don't got no sense, because you're never too old to get your ass whooped.
Right.
And that always stuck with me, because you would see some adults who would act like kids, and I feel like they need that reminder, like, you're never too old to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
real
at
talk.
any time, somebody can humble you up. Like, and you can tell, because the way they act, you would be like, you couldn't have, like, you just imagine, like, you couldn't have been in certain environments.
True.
You couldn't have, but you need to be. Like, that's what would go through your mind, like
I wish you had to deal with this.
yeah,
some
like,
type of level.
because we
because
had
you
them
don't know
environments where the people who could shake up somebody's world was probably next door.
better. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And even if like you didn't grow up in that type of environment, like your people did,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So like your roots were still there.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah,
So
like
it's
it was still as real as it can get.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
but some people it's just not like that, and it doesn't matter what age group, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I always supported it, man, but just not for the.
Yeah, like I said, when you put it in that context, then I pretty much gotta agree with you. But like when I think of it in like just the way that most people probably hear it, then I stand by what I said. You know what I'm saying? Like,
cause when you learn
Don't
about
just
it, you know how
for no
you know how our parents is. Like when you get into a fight, something happened. The first thing, what did you do that provoked them? That's the first question. What did you do?
Right.
That made him want to hit
why
you?
y'all don't like each other?
You know what I'm saying? Like what happened? How did the fight start?
Yeah.
And then you be like, the
exactly.
first thing that comes out, he hit me first. You didn't tell him that you was roasting his shoes and he had like you was just firing him up. You know what I'm saying? You skipped that part. You like he just hit me. You know what I'm saying?
Just walked up and fired on me in math class. I was
Yeah.
doing my homework. Like, nah, that ain't what happened.
And that's what you never hear, you know what I'm saying, in general senses. You just, and I'll be like, well, you know what I'm saying? Because if I hear that, oh, you was flaming him up and you ain't expect him to do nothing about it.
Right.
He clearly couldn't say nothing to you back or his feelings would be hurt right now.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? So
Be
the
like,
next
did
step,
y'all decide that y'all was roasting, or did you just start roasting?
yeah, did you just go to town on him early?
Right. Because if y'all had a pre-established, all right, nigga, after lunch, you already know what it is.
Yeah.
Then maybe you shouldn't have expected it because it was, but even then, son, expect it. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? You got to teach them.
Like that's usually the main goal. Like,
Always
don't do
expect
nothing
somebody's
you can't
hands.
get yourself out of.
Facts.
You know what I'm
Facts.
saying?
That's pretty much the rule of thumb. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good way to. We've been hitting them with some good enders.
Yeah.
Some good one-liners to. Don't do nothing you can't get yourself out of.
Hey man, I think y'all need to put this on the gram, man. Quote it.
You feel me?
Quote it. Tag the podcast though. Don't be them people that try to put your name with the hyphen by it.
Right.
Make it sound like you philosophical like that.
Yeah. Give us our credit. Shout out to the Pod Squad. Critical Dump, Real and Raw. 2 Shots in a Brew, Talk It Out, Podcast Brothers. Yeah, Bag Ladies. You know who y'all are.
Shout out
Podcast
to at
Queens.
Eric G Life, man.
Shout out at Zac Attack 15. That's ZAC Attack 15. And at Hayden since 92. It's the same person. Make sure you follow my man Zach.
You already know what it is, man. It's me at classic_wood. Officially, I ain't got the blue check mark, but that's why I'm saying officially.
Yeah, that's definitely him. You know what I'm saying? If you see his face out here floating around on random Dos Equis ads or anything like that, like make sure that you give him his credit.
That's a real life thing. It is something on Google.
It is your boy Shane G. You can follow me at ShaneG_MWC on both Instagram and Twitter.
Officially though, blue check mark.
Blue check mark official. Follow YouTube and Facebook, the Midwest Coast Podcast. And we're out. Peace.
Peace. So what up, man?